An attempt by organic farmers in the U.S. to get Monsanto to promise never to sue them for accidentally growing their genetically modified seeds has failed. The U.S. Supreme Court refused to consider a case lodged by the farmers. In fact, they say their fields could, in fact, be contaminated by GM crops and fear being dragged through a legal system by the biotech giant for patent infringement. With me now is William Engdahl, a geopolitical strategist and author of the book Seeds of Destruction, The Hidden Agenda of GMO. Sir, thank you so much for joining us today. Now, how serious is this ruling for farmers who are caught out growing, GM crops through no actual fault of their own?
Well, it's quite serious, and it's really outrageous that the Supreme Court once again has taken the side of Monsanto and the GMO cartel and ruled against natural farming. The implications of this are huge because, first of all, Monsanto lied in its statement to the Supreme Court. They lied brazenly by saying they never had and never will sue farmers for inadvertent, as the term is, inadvertent contamination of their fields. But they have sued countless farmers. Percy Schmeiser, a farmer in Canada, is a vivid example of that. But Monsanto has a team of lawyers that go out and terrorize farmers in the U.S. and Canada. When the wind blows the seeds from a Monsanto field across to a non-Monsanto field, it says, okay, now you have to pay. So this is like the mafia selling protection.
Well, I mean, surely, Monsanto has to keep its copyright and keep the threat of suing farmers. I mean, it spent huge amounts of money developing the genetically modified seeds, after all.
Well, this is part of a monopoly push especially by Monsanto. They're buying up seed companies all around the world to take ownership of the proprietary seeds. This is a concentration of power over the human food chain. The first ruling of the Supreme Court in the 1990s that you can patent life, that you can take a patent on life by injecting a foreign gene, a bacteria or so, that was a false decision to begin with, and there's been a whole sequence since then, and it's the influence buying of the agribusiness that's made this possible. That's a horrendous development for the future of food security in the world.
Well, isn't there a consumer rights side to this sort of thing? Some people buy organic to avoid genetically modified food. Can consumers at this point be ensured that they're getting the real deal these days?
Not at all, and especially since Monsanto and the biotech cartel spent millions of dollars to block labeling initiatives in California and in Washington State last year. They spent millions of dollars to make sure that consumers don't know what they're getting when they buy a box of Kellogg's Corn Flakes or Cheerios on the shelf for their kids, or countless other things. Most of the meat in the U.S., if not all of the meat, but almost all of the meat is GMO fed.
Okay, sir, how important is it for farmers to be protected by law nowadays?
It's very important, but they're not being. The Supreme Court is ruling on the side of industry against natural farmers, organic farmers. That's a very, very bad development in the United States.
All right, Mr. William Engdahl, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.